Thank you so much, the previous speakers, and at the high-level session on women and land. It was very fruitful. Apologies for this new meeting that was a little bit delayed because the presentation in the previous session took longer. But we are now ready to start, and of course we'll be able to give 20 minutes after the expected closing of the event, so that we can make sure all the content that needs to be presented in the current in this session also gets the adequate space. So the session is moderated virtually on land consolidation, and I am very pleased to give the word now to FAO and RVOs to lead us through the next session. Over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, shukran, lechidurekum aliam. Welcome to you all participants. We will continue in English now. There's simultaneous translation at the bottom of your screen. There's 3 channels, English, French, and Arabic. Welcome to this roundtable on land consolidation with the focus on challenges and solutions in the Arab world. The roundtable, as already stated, is co-hosted by FAO and RVO, which is the Netherlands Enterprise Agency in the Netherlands. My name is Frank van Holst. I'm a program manager of land governance in RVO, Netherlands Enterprise Agency, and I'm chairing this session today. The overarching objective of this roundtable is to present the state of the art on new approaches to land consolidation as part of integrated rural development strategies in North Africa and the Near East. We are delighted to have contributions from Egypt, Morocco, Sudan, Tunisia, and also from Turkey. We'll bring in experiences also from Eastern and Central Europe in this session. With this roundtable, we also want to support the application of the voluntary guidelines on the responsible governance of tenure, the VGGT, and highlight that land consolidation can contribute to achieving a number of sustainable development goals, such as SDGs 1, 2, and 5, and poverty, no hunger, and gender equality. We hope to start a community of practice today. I'll come back to that later. A bit about the program. Sorry. We will start with 2 keynote presentations, one from FAO and one from the Agricultural Land Agency in Tunisia. I will introduce the speakers a bit later on. And after this, we will continue with the first part of a panel discussion in which cases from Egypt, Morocco, Sudan, and Turkey will be shared. Presenters will very briefly highlight the key elements of land consolidation experiences in their respective countries, and the focus will be on good lessons and practices in these countries. The second part of the panel discussion will build on the main inputs and discussions from the chat, and of course from the live audience in Cairo. A bit of background: FAO and RVO have jointly supported land consolidation in a number of countries across the globe. On the basis of prior and ongoing work, FAO recently published a legal guide on land consolidation, in which also RVO and FAO worked very fruitfully together. In this guide, the gravity of the work has been in Central and Eastern Europe, but application of the approach is being piloted in a much wider range of countries. RVO is currently engaged in developing land consolidation projects in Egypt and Vietnam as part of our Land at Scale program, and FAO is assisting member countries in Northern Africa and the Middle East. The organization of the event, we welcome all the participants to put your comments and questions in the chat, and request the live audience in Cairo to wait until the second part of the round table. Again, in summary, we aim for an informative session and see this as a start of an exchange with you all on the topic of land consolidation. We hope to continue the discussion and exchange beyond the duration of this session, which is, of course, very limited in time. The session is being recorded, and the video, as well as the key messages, will be available later. As you can hear, we have a full program today, and therefore I would like to continue now with the keynote presentations. The first speaker I would like to introduce is Morten Harvigsson. He is working since 2015 for FEO. Morten, please start sharing your screen already while I introduce you. He works in the regional office for Europe and Central Asia in Budapest, Hungary, as a land tenure officer and a delivery manager of the FEO regional initiative on empowering smallholders and family farms. He's a chartered surveyor and has a long experiences in his home country, Denmark, on land consolidation. Morten and I have been meeting since the early 2000s in various countries in Central Eastern Europe while being involved in land consolidation pilot projects and advisory projects. So Morten, the floor is all yours. You have 50 minutes. 3 minutes before the end of your presentation, I will give you a short signal. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Frank, and I'm very pleased to be part of this roundtable today and share some experiences from Europe with the audience and the participants, and also being part of this exchange of experiences across the region. I think this is very important, and I'll come back to this also. Yes, when we talk about land consolidation in a European perspective, we can say that land consolidation is already a well-established land management instrument, and that in Western Europe, the tradition goes back in some countries more than 100 years. We can apply land consolidation usually on the ownership rights, but also on use rights, or in a combination of the two things. So addressing both the ownership structure and the use structure of the land. Traditional land consolidation is an instrument for agricultural development by facilitating the reduction of land fragmentation and enlargement of farm sizes on a voluntary basis. We have also seen in Europe a development since the last 3 decades where land consolidation is more and more becoming a multi-purpose instrument, improving the agricultural infrastructure and also linking it with public interventions. It could be large-scale infrastructure, it could be nature restoration, it could be environmental protection, climate change adaptation and mitigation. I think there are numerous of objectives where land consolidation can be applied in addition to the traditional purpose of agricultural development. And we can also see when we talk about land administration and land registration that land consolidation has a positive side effect, that all the informalities that usually exist in project areas where land consolidation is implemented, they can be formalized and the land registration problem solved and land registration updated as an outcome of the land consolidation in addition to the reorganization of the farm structures. Now, as Frank already mentioned, we were very happy to publish FAO in 2020, a new legal guide on land consolidation, and this is written based on the study that we conducted on good European legal practices for land consolidation. But the application of this guide, I think, has a potential that is far beyond Europe, even Europe and Central Asia. So hopefully it will also be relevant for the countries in North Africa and the Near East that are engaging into land consolidation as well. Now the guide is available, and the link to the publication is mentioned at the bottom of the slide. It defines what we see land consolidation is, and some of the elements in the definition is that it's a legally regulated procedure. It should be led by a public authority, what we usually call the lead agency. It's to adjust the property structure in rural areas in a comprehensive reallocation of the land parcels. It's ensuring the participatory process to reduce the land fragmentation and facilitate the farm enlargement, and then also the linkage with the public purpose objectives that I already mentioned. And the guide is published already in English and in Russian languages at the FAO website, and very soon we are pleased to announce today that it will also be available in Albanian and in Serbian, funded by GIZ project in Kosovo. Now, what is land consolidation and what is not land consolidation? I think this is an important issue because the term is sometimes used without being fully clear on how it's what it really means. And the three blue columns in the middle of this illustration show what we believe we can define as land consolidation. Land consolidation in a voluntary approach, the majority-based land consolidation, where the qualified majority of the landowners and stakeholders in the project area at the end of the planning process decide about the approval of the adoption of the land consolidation plan. And then there's the mandatory land consolidation approach. FAO is recommending the voluntary and also the majority-based land consolidation approaches because we believe that they are, let's say, most in line with the voluntary guidelines on tenure and most suitable in particular when land consolidation is being instrumented as a new instrument. Now, there are also, to the one side of it, there are the normal land market transactions, sometimes referred to as voluntary land transactions. And we do not consider this in the terms of the legal guide as land consolidation. And the main reason for this, even if land parcels are swapped between a number of landowners in this in the project area, it's not land consolidation as we understand it if it's not facilitated by land professionals. These are normal land market transactions. They are very important for the development of agriculture, for other development purposes in the project, but we do not consider them as land consolidation. At the other side, also expropriation is necessary in many countries for important public purpose projects, but expropriation is also not land consolidation. So the compensation in expropriation is usually provided to the landowners or right holders for the losses that they may have in money and not in land, while land consolidation can compensate in other land for what is lost for a public purpose project, for example. The linkage to the voluntary guidelines on the responsible governance of tenure, VGT, was already mentioned in the introduction, and this is also the framework for FAO support to introduction of land consolidation. As we all know, it was endorsed in 2012 by the Committee on World Food Security. It's a reference to improve the governance of tenure based on international best practice. It promotes the secure tenure rights and responsible governance with respect to all forms of tenure. And it has a special section on land consolidation, section 13, which has a key principle that I would like to mention here, that it states that the participants that participate in land consolidation should be at least as well off after the land consolidation project compared with before. This is a key guiding principle, and at least as well off, of course, it means many different things in many situations. It has to do about the value of the land that the participants receive in the project should be at least as high as the value of the land that they enter the project with. But it also has to other implications as well. But it's a key principle worth to mention here. Now, what is it this really about? I think usually land fragmentation is seen as a key reason for implementing land consolidation. This orthophoto or small part of the orthophoto from Terbuf village in Albania with an overlay of the cadastral map, I think illustrates all what this is about. We see the fragmentation both of the ownership, the small parcels on the cadastral map. The average parcel size is somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 square meters. But we also see the land use fragmentation. You see the different colors on the map indicating that there's a different land use, meaning that each owner or each farmer more or less is using his own land and not much more. In Albania, the agricultural land is 95% used by the owner. So in this farm structure, of course, the fragmentation, and each family has an average farm size of around 1.5 hectares divided into 4 or 5 physical small and fragmented parcels. Of course, it's not very easy to be a competitive or productive farmer under such circumstances. And this is the classical reason why land consolidation is being implemented. Now, back to the legal guide, and the legal guide has 123 specific recommendations, and the Western European experience shows the importance of the multi-purpose approach, combining in the same area different objectives of land consolidation. This is how land consolidation in many countries in Western Europe is being implemented nowadays, but it's also what FAO is recommending and what the legal guide recommends should be done in countries that are introducing land consolidation. Even that it may not be an instrument that will deal largely with additional things to the agricultural development, it's still important. For example, the obvious connection between land consolidation and the improvement of the agricultural infrastructure in the project area, like rehabilitation of irrigation, rural roads, drainage systems, this linkage. If these are in such investments are done together with the land consolidation, then the impact on the farms and the support to the farms become much bigger. It's also key to develop a legal framework and to test it in pilots before it's scaled up to a national land consolidation program. FAO has in Europe and Central Asia so far supported 11 member countries related to land consolidation. Land consolidation should be demand driven. It's very important that it's not decided by in government institution. It should be, of course, decided to implement land consolidation, but where to do it exactly should be driven by a demand of local communities, of local farmers who are interested to use this instrument as a tool for their own development and improving their own situations and improving typically family farming in the project area. Process, of course, should be participatory and transparent, and it's also recommended to combine land consolidation with land banking instruments. I will come back to this at the end. And to disseminate the exchanges and experiences of land consolidation across the different regions is one of the recommendations also of the guide. And this is exactly what we're doing today with this roundtable. And I'm really looking very much forward to continue the discussions after the roundtable today on how we can also support countries in North Africa and the Near East related to land consolidation. Now, we usually say that land consolidation has 3 generic phases, which I think is important for understanding on how it's done in practice. There's the feasibility phase, the reallotment phase, and the registration and implementation phase. The feasibility phase is to check whether it's really feasible to implement it before too much is invested, because too big a machine is started for the project area. To test, for example, that there really is a demand, that there's interest and support of the landowners and the farmers in the project area. Also to have estimates about the budgets and the costs and the need, for example, for improvement of agricultural infrastructure. And based on that, the budget is approved, and the project moves into the reallotment phase, which is the negotiations between all the owners, the farmers, and the other stakeholders in the project area about the new layout of the parcels after the land consolidation project. When the project is then approved by the landowners, by the authorities, then it goes into the registration, and the new land rights are registered in the land registry, and everything is implemented in the field. If construction works are included, they are then done in the field as well. Now here's a practical example from a project that we have supported in North Macedonia with the ongoing mainland project in North Macedonia. the project, or the map to the left was the parcel structure in the project area before the project area, and to the right the outcome of the reallotment planning, so the land consolidation plan. We can see now that the number of parcels in the project area have been reduced with a factor 3.5, and the agricultural infrastructure has been improved, or will be improved, because the project is approved, but it's not implemented yet. We are in the process of identifying the contractors who will do the field work at the moment. So the project was approved in 2020 and will be fully finalized during this year, with new roads, with the rehabilitation of the irrigation and new drainage system in place. Now about land banking, and why is land banking relevant when we talk about land consolidation? I think in Western Europe, land banking is a well-proven instrument that supports land consolidation programs by increasing what we call the land mobility in the project area. This allows that additional land can be used, and land banking can come from existing state-owned agricultural land that is used for this purpose of increasing the land mobility. But land banking is also performed in countries in a way that the land bank, or the public agency responsible for land banking, usually the same as the one responsible for land consolidation, what I call the lead agency, has the mandate to purchase private-owned agricultural land 1-2 years before the land consolidation project starts, but when it has been planned, with the purpose of having this additional land available for the process. This allows that some of the farmers who would like to buy additional land in the process, there's some land available that they can actually buy. Also, the use of the existing state land can be both consolidated, and it can also be privatized through the land consolidation process. And the land bank...
Sorry, you have 1 minute left.
Thank you, I'm almost there. Land banking allows the facilitation of the enlargements of the farms, and this is a very important objective of land consolidation, in addition to the reduction of the fragmentation. And it also allows to implement projects, public purpose projects. It could be related to nature restoration, climate change, or other public purposes where agricultural land is taken out of production and farmers are compensated through the land from the land bank or the existing state land. FAO has in Europe and Central Asia 3 pillars of the land consolidation program. A number of technical guides have been published in cooperation with our colleagues in the land tenure team in Rome, in headquarters. We have the field projects ongoing in a number of countries. And we also have the third, which is LandNet. And LandNet is an informal network of land tenure professionals interested in these topics that we are discussing today: land consolidation, land banking, but also land market development in general. And I think with the LandNet, we have a network now covering more than 30 countries in Europe and Central Asia. And we have the network ready also to open up for countries outside of Europe and Central Asia, if there's an interest in this. Finally, some links to some of the documents that we have produced over the years. Thank you very much. Back to you, Frank.
Thank you, Martin, for your clear presentation. As always, please indeed stop sharing the screen. I'm happy to announce that we have 70 participants now online, and I don't know how many people there are in Cairo itself, but I guess we are over 100 participants, which is very nice. Also, thank you, Martin, for emphasizing that land consolidation in this context is about small farms and smallholder farms becoming viable family farms, and not about creating large commercial farms for export. Vissel, please, could you start sharing your screen while I introduce you? Vissel Garbi will be the next presenter. She's,
yes, good morning. I'm with you. Hi, everyone. I'm honored to be with you today. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we hear you. Okay. Can you start?
Okay, I'm here. So I'll share my presentation.
Okay, Wissel is working for the Agricultural Land Agency in Tunisia.
Yes.
Dealing from the early 2000s with land registration, land disputes, and she's now a Deputy Director of Litigation. And Wissel, the floor is all yours. You have 10 minutes. I will warn you 2 minutes before the end of your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you too, but I thought that I have only 10 minutes. So
you have 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Great now. So okay.
10 minutes.
Okay. So for land consolidation in Tunisia, I'll pass my slides quickly. So we have to know that land consolidation in Tunisia began since 1958, but it concerns only lands that are adjacent for the river of Wad Majorda, which is a river that cross around zones in the north and the northwest of Tunisia. But in 1963, land consolidation is extended to other lands all over the republic. Then in 1977, there was the creation of the Agricultural Land Agency. And since these years, we speak about agrarian reform really, and not about land consolidation. So they are the three main legal texts that reorganize the operation of land consolidation in Tunisia. So I'll pass to the procedures, without details, of course, of land consolidation operation. Main details are, or main steps in land consolidation begin with the definition of the zone, which means the determination of borders of the zone of intervention, or we call to perimeter of intervention. And the main important thing is the sensibilization or the raising awareness of farmers before the execution of this operation, in order to make them our partners in this operation, and to convince them about the importance of the consequences of this operation on them, which means benefits for them. Then we can speak about later. Then we create, legally speaking, the perimeter by a decree. Then there is a decree of opening land consolidation procedures. After this two texts, legal texts, we have to do deep inquiries for having details about, first of all, the borders of each plot belonging to each farmer or group of farmers. And second, we have to collect deeds concerning transactions of ownership, concerning each farmer too, because those both elements help us to prepare the conception of the land consolidation project. So then we have to prepare the land consolidation project, as I said, after verification of ownership rights on land. Then we publish the project in order to give time to farmers to tell to the Agricultural Land Agency what have as oppositions or propositions to give us, in order to take them into account or to reject them if they aren't really good propositions. So after publication of the project for 3 months, we have to promulgate the decree approving the land consolidation plan. This is first phase or step of land consolidation operation. The second step is the registration of land rights on new plots allocated after the execution of the land consolidation operation. Here an example in the slide 5, an example of how we sensibilize farmers, and here we speak about women and men, because in our constitution and even in all legal texts that are applicable for land consolidation and for other subjects, of course, we have equal rights between men and women, and here they have equal rights in giving their opinion about projects of land consolidation. And here we speak about women that are owners, essentially, of land. So examples, donc participatory, we use, of course, the main important VGT principle, which is participatory approach. Since the beginning of the land operation procedures. So we have here some examples, photos, and how technicians, essentially, of land consolidation agency are consulting farmers, women and men. Then we pass to the slide 6, in which we found principles of land consolidation operation, which are notably in irrigated public perimeters. And I have to remember that in Tunisia, we have 3 kinds of perimeters of intervention, which are subject of land consolidation operation, which are irrigated public perimeters, irrigated perimeters which are equipped by private, and we have rain-fed perimeters. Here we speak essentially about irrigated public perimeters because they have special characteristics. So principles of land consolidation operation in irrigated public perimeters are reorganization and clearance of the land situation, which is applicable also to both to other kinds of perimeters. The obligation to irrigate land in irrigated perimeters, of course, here, and here it's an obligation in irrigated public perimeters. And the third principle is that the owner's contribution to the hydraulic installation costs is an obligation. And the fourth principle is the establishing of an area limit that the farmer should not go below. This area limit is determined on the base of technical and social measures that take into account the benefits of irrigation water distribution technology and the possibility of technically direct agricultural circulation to ensure a decent income for the farmer. So we pass to objectives of land consolidation operation, which are to limit and control the fragmentation of agricultural plots, to create plots with regular form, accessible, viable, and economically profitable, to secure land and land rights for men and women, of course, by registering them, to facilitate access to agricultural credit and subsidies, to control land transactions in order not to fragmentate new plots. I have here an example in slides 8 and 9, 10 and 11, an example of irrigated public perimeter, which is in the northwest of Tunisia. We have the situation before land consolidation, and then we have the situation after. We see that, for example, the number of farmers are 62. The area of the perimeter is not very big, so we have 110 hectares. The number of parcels before land consolidation operation were 177 parcels or plots. After land consolidation, we have only 46 new plots allocated in order to 177 plots or parcels. We have, after land consolidation operation, only 46 new plots. Then we create, after land consolidation operation, agricultural tracts, as it is said, that allow farmers to have access to his new plot and allow him to carry products of his land to markets too. Here, okay. So I'll quickly. I have here in slide 9 only to show you that, for example, before land consolidation operation, you can see the plots in color, for example, yellow, on the area of 19 hectares, and the number of parcels were 20 plots or parcels. And after land consolidation operation, you see how the form of lands is transformed in regular form, and less parcels than before land consolidation. So we passed to not only one parcel, and instead of 9. So I'll now we go to the slide concerning challenges. We have challenges, as it is said, for all countries, I think. The first challenge is the unexpected climate change. The weak control of rehabilitation of the new plots allocated to farmers in public irrigated perimeters, the urban expansion and the implementation of industrial projects on agricultural land, even the most fertile, even in oases too, poor coordination between the various structures involved in preserving agricultural lands, and insufficient water resources for irrigation, lack of database about the situation of agricultural land that links all stakeholders. Although the Agricultural Land Agency is the only structure competent in land consolidation operations throughout the Republic, it suffers from an acute shortage of human and material resource. Here only an example of an irrigated public perimeter that is it becomes really a sign of constructions. So in some Tunisian zones, we are now thinking if we have a big dilemma in reality, if we have to conserve resources of food, which is agricultural land, or to have home. It's an example of a perimeter that if we consult Google Earth now, we will see that constructions are nowadays more advanced. So for opportunities of land consolidation operation, we have to achieve, in order to achieve responsible governance of land tenure and good stewardship of the land in Tunisia, we need tools and means of monitoring, including human resources to monitor and enforce compliance with legal texts relating to the protection and conservation of agricultural land. We need to impose more severe sanctions on those who do not respect these texts, legal texts, I mean. And we need to create a single public structure that collects all the precise and general data relating to each agricultural plot. And we need to create an information system which connects all stakeholders and which contains a detailed and precise database in order to help decision makers during the development of national strategies in agricultural land management. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ms. Algarbi, for your wonderful contribution.
Thank you.
Please stop sharing your screen.
Yes, I'll do it. Sorry.
Meanwhile, I'll introduce the next session, which will be the round table. It will be chaired by Jean-Maurice Durand from FAO headquarters. He's seconded by Expertise France to FAO as a senior land tenure expert and a portfolio manager of many projects in Francophone Sub-Sahara Africa and Northern Africa. He has a long working experience as well in Western Africa for more than 12 years. And he is supported by my colleague Gemma Betsma from RVO, who is also a senior land tenure advisor and active in the Land at Scale program of RVO. So Jean-Maurice, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. And good morning, everybody. Real pleasure to be with you today. Thank you also for the very informative presentation, Morten and Wissal. I think this gives this set the scenes actually, and it gives a lot of perspectives, I think, on the Arab world. I will introduce successively now several country experiences, starting with Egypt. Our host country, actually. So I will ask the presenters to focus on key characteristics of land consolidation in their country, such as the objectives of land consolidation, the general approach that is adopted in their country, and participatory aspects. So let's start, as I said, with Egypt, and let me introduce Dr. Ali Hossayen, researcher in the Desert Research Center, who has also a long experience in non-tenure project design and implementation. Dr. Ali, the floor is yours. Dr. Ali is intervening from the room, from Cairo.
السيدات والسادة، صباح الخير عليكم جميعا. في البداية أود أن أشكر إدارة المؤتمر على تخصيص هذه الجلسة لموضوع غاية في الأهمية، وهو تفتت ملكية الأراضي الزراعية في البلدان العربية، لأنه يعتبر من أهم المشكلات التي تعوق التنمية الزراعية في البلدان العربية وخاصة في مصر. يلعب قطاع الزراعة في مصر دورا رئيسيا، حيث يساهم في الدخل القومي الإجمالي بحوالي 11.5%، وذلك في عام 2019. كما أن قطاع الزراعة في مصر يساهم بحوالي 50% من فرص العمل المتاحة داخل مصر. ويبلغ عدد سكان مصر حوالي 100 مليون مواطن يستمدون غذائهم من زراعة ما يقرب من 9 ملايين فدان، والفدان يبلغ حوالي مساحة 4200 متر، ويبلغ الهكتار حوالي 2.5 فدان. ومن ذلك يتضح مدى محدودية الأراضي الزراعية المتاحة لتوفير الغذاء في مصر، إذ يبلغ نصيب الفرد من الأراضي الزراعية في مصر أقل من 8% من الفدان، وهي مساحة صغيرة جدا لا تتعدى 350 متر مربع. لذلك فإن مصر تستورد حوالي 60% من المحاصيل الأساسية من الخارج. دعونا نستعرض أهم أسباب تفتت الملكية الأراضي الزراعية في مصر. ترجع أسباب هذه الظاهرة في المقام الأول إلى الزيادة الكبيرة والمضطردة في عدد السكان ومحدودية الأراضي الزراعية، وكذلك ترجع إلى قوانين الإصلاح الزراعي. فبعد ثورة 1952 قامت الحكومة بإعادة توزيع الأراضي الزراعية على صغار المزارعين بمقدار 5 أفدنة لكل مزارع بموجب قانون الإصلاح الزراعي. كذلك فإن توريث الأراضي الزراعية يعتبر أحد أهم أسباب تفتت ملكية الأراضي الزراعية، حيث أشارت كثير من الدراسات أن الميراث كان المصدر الرئيسي لتملك الأراضي الزراعية في مصر بنسبة بلغت 88.3%. دعونا نلقي الضوء على بعض الإحصائيات التي ستوضح أبعاد المشكلة بشكل أكبر. تظهر مشكلة تفتت الملكية الزراعية في مصر بشكل كبير وواضح في الأراضي القديمة، وهي الأراضي الموجودة على جانبي نهر النيل ودلتاه، والتي تصل إلى حوالي 5.5 مليون فدان عنها في الأراضي المستصلحة حديثا. الشكل البياني الأول يوضح متوسط توزيع الملكية الأراضي، متوسط الملكية الزراعية للأراضي للحائزين لهذه الأراضي. ففي عام 2000 بلغت متوسط الملكية الزراعية 1.9 فدان، ووصلت الآن في عام 2020 إلى حوالي 9 فدان. أما الشكل البياني الثاني فيوضح تدرج أعداد المالكين لمساحة أقل من فدان، وذلك منذ عام 1950 حتى عام 2020، حيث بلغت نسبة هؤلاء المالكين عام 1950 حوالي 20% من هؤلاء المالكين، وزادت هذه النسبة حتى وصلت إلى حوالي 68% من المالكين للأراضي الزراعية عام 2020 يحوزون أو يمتلكون أقل من فدان واحد. ومن المعروف أن هناك كثير من الآثار السلبية لتفتت ملكية الأراضي الزراعية، حيث أن تعتبر أكبر عائق في مجال التنمية الزراعية، ويمكن إنجاز هذه السلبيات فيما يلي: الهدر والفقد في المساحة المزرعة، وذلك نتيجة قيام كل مالك بعمل فواصل ومساقي فرعية ومصارف خاصة بالقطعة التي يمتلكها. وقد قدرت بعض الدراسات أن نسبة الفاقد في الأراضي الزراعية نتيجة تفتت ملكية الأراضي يصل إلى 10 إلى 12% من الأراضي المهدرة. كذلك يحدث هدر وفقد في مياه الري نتيجة لتعدد قنوات الري الفرعية، وما يتبع ذلك من ارتفاع معدلات التبخر والتسرب واستخدام أساليب قديمة في عمليات الري. كذلك التعدي على الأراضي الزراعية وتبويرها، حيث أن التعدي على الأراضي الزراعية يعتبر عرض لمرض تفتت الحيازة الزراعية، وذلك لانخفاض العائد من الحيازات الصغيرة ورغبة أصحابها بتحويلها إلى أراضي لإقامة المباني عليها. كذلك صعوبة استخدام الوسائل المتطورة والحديثة في الزراعة وزيادة تكاليف الإنتاج وصعوبة أداء عمليات التسويق لتفتت الإنتاج واختلاف أنواعه ما بين ملكية صغيرة إلى أخرى. التجربة المصرية في توحيد الأراضي أو الحيازات الزراعية المفتتة، وهي تجربة تم تنفيذها من خلال مشروع بناء مرونة نظم الأمن الغذائي في صعيد مصر، والذي يتم تنفيذه بين وزارة الزراعة وبرنامج الغذاء العالمي. ترتكز آليات مبادرة توحيد الحيازات التي تم تنفيذها من خلال المشروع على حث المزارعين على إزالة الحدود الفاصلة مع احتفاظ كل مالك بحدود ملكيته، وتتم كافة أعمال الزراعة بشكل جماعي لمتوسط 70 مزارع في المجموعة الواحدة، على أن يتولى كل مزارع رعاية أرضه حتى الحصاد، ويتم تكوين رابطة تعاونية للملكية المجمعة يكون لها رئيس للرابطة يتم اختياره بالانتخاب، ومجلس إدارة للتنسيق بين المزارعين فيما يختص بالأصناف المتفق على زراعتها وشراء التقاوي والأسمدة وكافة العمليات الزراعية والتسويق المشترك. وعادة ما تبدأ الأنشطة بجلسات توعية للمزارعين من أصحاب الملكيات الصغيرة لتوعيتهم بالآثار السلبية لتفتت الأراضي وفوائد تجميع هذه الأراضي. وكذلك يقوم المشروع بدعم كل رابطة تعاونية للحفاظ على تأسيسها خلال الثلاث سنوات الأولى المتتالية لتصبح ذاتية، حيث يقوم المشروع خلال الثلاث سنوات بدعم المزارعين في هذه الروابط بتكاليف تسوية أراضيهم بالليزر وشراء البذور والأسمدة، بالإضافة إلى خدمات الإرشاد الزراعي. وأشارت تقارير المتابعة والتقييم للمشروع أن نسبة النجاح تراوحت ما بين 70% إلى 80%، وذلك في التغلب على تجزئة الأراضي الزراعية عن طريق توحيد الحيازات وتكوين الروابط التعاونية، حيث تم تجميع حيازة حوالي 9187 فدان زرعت بمحصولي القمح والذرة الرفيعة خلال فترة المشروع. لوحظ زيادة إنتاجية المحاصيل لكل فدان بنسبة بلغت حوالي 20%، برغم من الظروف المناخية البيئية المعاكسة مثل موجات الحرارة غير المسبوقة خلال فترة عمل المشروع. لم تتعدى نسبة التخلي أو التراجع عن الروابط التعاونية أكثر من 20 إلى 30%، وكذلك حدث توفير في نسبة المياه المستخدمة في الري وصلت إلى أكثر من 15%. والشريحة الأخيرة تتضمن بعض صور للأراضي التي تم تجميعها وتم زراعتها بمحصولي القمح والذرة. أشكركم على حسن استماعكم، وأتمنى لكم مؤتمر ناجح ومثمر في وضع حلول لهذه المشكلة. شكرا.
Thank you very much for this also very interesting presentation, where we understand that fragmentation, of course, is a very important issue in Egypt, linked also to the growth of population and inheritance issues. So after Egypt, let me introduce Dr. Saïd El Azraq, professor of the Hassan II Institute of the University of Kenitra as well, Director General of a land tenure engineering company from Morocco. So he will present the experience from Morocco. Mr. Saïd, this is up to you. Or is it Moa El Ayashi presenting?
Oh, it's Saïd. Saïd who will present.
Saïd will present, okay. So Saïd, the floor is yours. Please, your microphone is mute.
Vous entendez maintenant?
Very well.
Oui, bonjour. Bonjour à toutes, bonjour à tous. Merci pour les organisateurs de cette conférence qui va nous permettre de partager nos expériences. Alors, en premier lieu, je vais différencier entre pour le remembrement au Maroc. Il y a deux types de remembrement. Il y a le roman-broman urbain, qui concerne la ville et qui date de 1927, et le roman-broman rural. Le roman-broman urbain au Maroc, ça a été abordé 2 ou 3 expériences, mais le roman, excusez-moi, parce que l'écho, je dois le régler. Excusez-moi, il y a un écho. Voilà. Donc, comme je viens de dire, que le roman-broman urbain, il a été abandonné, mais nous avons capitalisé une expérience de 70 années de roman-broman rural au Maroc. Ça date de 1952. Alors, mon intervention sera axée sur des points suivants. Je vais essayer de donner un aperçu général sur l'agriculture marocaine, la population rurale et la structure foncière rurale. Puis, je vais essayer de donner une approche générale sur le roman-broman rural au Maroc, puis l'évolution de ce roman-broman. Et à la fin, je vais donner une évaluation de la politique du roman-broman rural au Maroc. Alors, concernant l'aperçu général sur l'agriculture, la superficie du Maroc est de 71 millions d'hectares. Les terres agricoles, ce qu'on appelle chez nous la surface agricole utile, elle représente près de 9 millions d'hectares, soit 12,67% de territoire national. Alors, et de là, le secteur agricole et de la pêche représente 13,6% du PIB national. Derrière, bien sûr, le secteur tertiaire avec 101% et le secteur secondaire de 25%. Et l'agroalimentaire, il représente uniquement 3,9% de PIB. Concernant les surfaces, 1,8 million d'hectares de surfaces qui sont irrigables et pratiquement 1 million d'hectares qui étaient remembrés. Le reste est constitué, bien sûr, des terres bourres. Les agriculteurs sans terre ou ceux qui ont des petites exploitations, 1 à 3 hectares, ils représentent plus de 54% au Maroc. Ils détiennent uniquement 12% de la SAU et 18% de la surface agricole utile. Le Maroc, il compte en 2020 36,36 millions d'habitants, dont 13,2 millions de ruraux. Et cette population, elle représente 36,5% de la population totale, avec un taux démographique rural qui est négatif, de moins 0,20% par an. Alors, la population rurale, elle connaît un exode rural très, très important vers les villes et certains sites ruraux qui deviennent des zones urbaines. L'emploi agricole au Maroc en 2020, il représente 35,8% de l'emploi total au Maroc. Alors, je précise que le système agraire marocain, c'est un système qui connaît une dichotomie, et cette dichotomie, depuis l'avènement du protectorat français au Maroc, entre le traditionnel et le moderne, de sorte à ce que dès 1913, on avait divisé le Maroc en deux, au Maroc utile et Maroc inutile. Et là, on a aussi introduit un système foncier moderne et un système traditionnel. On a aussi instauré un système agraire moderne qui utilise tous les moyens modernes, et on a laissé un système agraire qui est traditionnel. Alors, cette dichotomie, elle a été prolongée même après l'indépendance, où il y avait la dualité des régimes. Donc, d'une part, une agriculture moderne qui utilise tous les moyens de technologie nouvelle. Jusqu'à maintenant, on a les meilleures fermes, parmi les meilleures fermes du monde, et on a en même temps un secteur qui est traditionnel et qui plonge dans l'archaïsme et dans la traditionnalité. Alors, pour pouvoir faire ou bien exécuter le roman rural, on est obligé d'attaquer ce système traditionnel, donc, et de le muter vers le système moderne. Alors, donc, qu'est-ce qu'on fait? On commence par un diagnostic de la structure foncière avant roman. Et là, ça concerne uniquement le secteur traditionnel parce que le secteur moderne, il est déjà équipé, il ne connaît pas de problème d'exploitation. Alors, ce diagnostic, il donne à ce qu'il y a un parcellement qui est excessif des propriétés, des parcelles disséminées, les parcelles qui sont enchevêtrées les unes avec les autres, il y a des accès difficiles, il y a des parcelles qui des fois sont enclavées, des formes irrégulières, il y a l'existence de la micro-parcelle, puis l'absence de système d'irrigation. Et bien sûr, en parallèle, il y a les structures agraires qui sont traditionnelles et même la possession qui est une possession non paisible, non sûre, et une vulnérabilité du régime foncier. Parce que le régime foncier de ce système traditionnel est très vulnérable et il connaît un morcellement des terres pratiquement d'une manière permanente pour vendre une partie aux questions d'héritage ou autres. Donc, lorsqu'on diagnostique ce secteur traditionnel, alors on met un constat à ce que le seul moyen pour pallier à ce problème, c'est le remembrement rural. Alors, le remembrement rural est conçu au Maroc, comme la loi le dit, on va vous présenter un peu la loi, ce n'est pas uniquement un regroupement des parcelles, mais c'est plutôt, il est perçu comme l'aménagement de l'espace rural dans son ensemble, parce qu'il ne concerne pas uniquement le regroupement des terres, etc., mais il y a des travaux connexes qui accompagnent ce remembrement rural, et de fait, par l'irrigation, par les accès, par l'implantation de certains équipements socio-économiques, etc. Alors, et on subit, si vous voulez, le parcellaire va subir des transformations. Donc, avec…
Dr. Said,
Oui.
can I ask you to wrap up? We have just half a minute left.
Pardon, parce que là, je vais l'interprétation.
Oui, Saïd, vous êtes un peu en retard là. On va avoir des problèmes avec le timing.
Ah, d'accord, donc…
Si vous pouvez conclure assez rapidement, s'il vous plaît, ça serait bien. Merci.
Oui, donc je vais essayer de conclure et donner un peu parce qu'il y a des approches, parce que tellement c'est très très riche, une expérience de 70 années ne peut jamais être résumée en quelques minutes. Mais il y a des approches, et là je vais vraiment souligner l'approche participative, ça veut dire l'approche sociale. Donc le remembrement rural au Maroc, la population, c'est un acteur incontournable. Il participe, il y a une enquête socio-économique qui est réalisée avant le remembrement. Il y a même une campagne de sensibilisation qui se fait avant le remembrement, au cours du remembrement et après le remembrement. Et la commission de remembrement, il englobe 4 propriétaires parmi 8, et cette commission de remembrement, c'est elle qui administre le remembrement, elle est présidée par un magistrat. Alors, parce que là, vous m'avez demandé de résumer. Alors, cette approche sociale, elle est très, très positive au niveau du Maroc. Bien sûr, il se heurte à des problèmes, donc les problèmes tels que la question de l'héritage, que même le remembrement, lorsqu'on fait le remembrement, après un certain nombre d'années, on le voit sur le fait démembrer parce qu'il y a la question d'héritage, et là, on n'a pas pu faire face à cette question d'héritage. Un deuxième problème, à ce que, en droit, parce que c'est un droit musulman, la femme, elle hérite la moitié de ce que hérite l'homme, et malheureusement, le problème, il contribue aussi au parcellement et à l'apparition de la petite parcelle. Donc, je crois que j'ai tout dit en ce qui concerne cette action sociale. Je termine juste pour dire qu'il y a 950 000 hectares au Maroc qui ont été remembrés. Il y a 32 571 kilomètres de pistes qui ont été ouvertes. Il y a 16 285 kilomètres de réseau d'irrigation. Il y a 31 000 familles qui ont été touchées par le remembrement et plus de 800 unités socio-spatiales qui étaient concernées. Donc, s'il y a des questions, je suis prêt à vous répondre et je vous remercie.
D'accord, merci Saïd. Thank you very much, Dr. Saïd El Azraq, for this very interesting presentation of a rich experience, actually. 70 years, you are right, cannot be summarized in 10 minutes, for sure, but this is not the point. The point is to highlight some important aspects of this experience, and this is what you have done, I think. In particular, you have shown how the land consolidation can be a tool to modernize the agricultural sector, which is an important aspect. And also you have mentioned something which is very important and in particular, I think, for all the partners that are attending this meeting, I mean the participatory approach. I think this is very important to include the beneficiaries in the decision-making process. And I have delivered yesterday a presentation about that. And we have also supported this kind of experience in Tunisia, in Mauritania, and several other countries. So very important point, and thank you for that, Dr. Saïd El Azraq. Let me now quickly introduce Mr. Salah Eldin Hassan Ahmed Abu Kashawa from Sudan. He will present the experience of his countries. He's a land and mapping expert with a long experience in rural and urban mapping. He's also the founder of the Center for Land and Environmental Governance in Sudan. So he will intervene also from Cairo. So Mr. Salah, you have the floor, please. And let's try to keep the time within the 8 minutes allocated, please.
اوكي، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والحمد لله. الشكر من قبل ومن بعد لله سبحانه وتعالى، ثم الشكر لمصر حكومة وشعبا على استضافتنا. السادة الحضور الكريم بمقاماتكم السامية الرفيعة. أنا صلاح أبو كشوة من استدامة لحوكمة الأرض من السودان. أقدم هذا العرض المختصر نيابة عن نفسي، أصالة عن نفسي ونيابة عن زميلي محمد عثمان حسين الخبير في البنك الدولي وفي قضايا التنمية والتنمية الريفية. العرض يتكون من أهداف تجميع الأراضي في السودان ومنهجيتها وأمثلتها والدروس والتوصيات المستفادة منها. تجميع الأراضي في السودان قديم في تاريخ السودان، حيث ظل السودانيون يعملون في ما يسمى بالنفير، التي هي عبارة عن مجموعة من الناس يعملون في أرض مشتركة لزراعتها كقرية أو كقبيلة أو كمجموعة من المجتمع، ثم يتقاسمون المنتوج الزراعي فيها، وكذلك يساعدون بعضهم البعض في مختلف العمليات. يقوم الرجال ببعض العمليات وتقوم النساء ببعض العمليات، ويعرفون تماما ما هي كمية الأرض أو حجم الأرض المتاحة لكل منهم. بدأت التجربة الحديثة في مسألة تجميع الأراضي في بداية القرن الماضي في بعض المشاريع الزراعية، ثم ظهرت بصورة جلية في فترة الاستعمار البريطاني للسودان في الثلاثينيات والعشرينيات، العشرينات والثلاثينات من القرن العشرين. وكانت أهدافها أن الكلية زيادة المحصولات النقدية، خاصة أن المستعمر في ذلك الزمان كان يحتاج إلى القطن من السودان ومن مصر كذلك، إضافة إلى توفير الأمن الغذائي. أما الأهداف الخاصة لهذه العملية التجميعية التي قام بها النظام الحاكم في ذلك الوقت، فكانت تقليل تكلفة الإنتاج وتطوير النظم الري وكفاءتها، وكذلك زيادة الرقعة الزراعية. من خلال عمليات التجميع يمكن أن تقدم خدمة لمساحات أكبر، وتنويع التركيبة المحصولية كما ذكرت، بإضافة القطن للمحصولات الغذائية التي كان الناس يزرعونها سابقا، إضافة إلى تحقيق أمن غذائي محلي على المجتمعات التي تمارس فيها هذه العملية الزراعية. المنهجية التي كانت تقوم عليها هذه العملية كانت أن يتم تجميع أصحاب الحيازات الصغيرة سواء في زراعة المطرية اللي هي الرين فيد، الزراعة المطرية، أو المروية الإيريجيتد من النيل. في حيازاتهم الصغيرة يتم تجميعها في حيازات أكبر لتقديم هذه الخدمة، ومن ثم تكوين أو تشكيل إدارة موحدة لهذه المشروعات الزراعية. من الأمثلة التي نود أن نطرحها في هذا العرض كمثال مشروع الزيداب الزراعي، وهو يقع شمال مدينة الخرطوم بحوالي 250 كيلومتر مربع، كيلومتر طولي من الخرطوم شمالا، وهو من المشاريع المروية التي تسقى من نهر النيل. كما تعلمون أن السودان به نيلان ونيل، النيل الأزرق شرقا والنيل الأبيض غربا يلتقيان في الخرطوم ليشكلا النيل الذي هو هبة مصر، الذي ترونه هنا الآن في مصر، يعبر السودان ثم يصل إلى مصر. مشروع الزيداب الزراعي هو على نهر النيل بعد تكون النيل الرئيسي. بدأ التجريب هذا المشروع في بداية القرن العشرين سنة 1904، ثم تطور شيئا فشيئا من التجريب حتى تم تصدير أول مجموعة من القطن فيه سنة 1906 إلى لانكشير في بريطانيا. وهذا المشروع من مميزاته أنه كان بمبادرة من القطاع الخاص وليس من الحكومة، حيث قام القطاع الخاص بتمويل هذه العملية، عملية التجميع هذه وتقديم الخدمات الزراعية وتوفير التسويق، وتشارك مع المزارعين في توفير أمنهم الغذائي والعمليات الأخرى يقوم بها هذا القطاع. ولكن بعد أن انهارت أسعار القطن في بداية الستينات والسبعينات، توقف المشروع نهائيا، حيث لم يكن يحمل صفة الاستدامة في عمله. المشروع الآخر هو مشروع العفاض الزراعي، وهو أيضا من مشاريع المروية في النيل. وهذا المشروع كان في فترة السبعينات، حيث زاد المساحة الزراعية إلى ما يعادل حوالي 20,000 فدان، كما أنه كان يركز على زيادة سعة الضخ للمياه من النيل، حيث كان المزارعون يضخون المياه من النيل بطرق السواقي التقليدية أو بمضخات ميكانيكية صغيرة الحجم وبدون تقانات هندسية في الري. هذا المشروع أضاف قيمة مضافة للمزارعين وحقق حماية من الزحف الصحراوي، حيث بنى عدد من الصفوف من الأشجار التي قللت من عملية الزحف وبالتالي حافظت على الأرض من التدهور. المشروع الكبير الذي يعرفه الناس في السودان كثيرا هي مشاريع الإعاشة في النيل الأبيض، وهي عدد كبير من المشاريع على النيل الغربي، النيل الأبيض الذي ينبع من بحيرة فيكتوريا. هذه المشاريع بدأت قديما منذ الثلاثينات والأربعينات، ولكن ظهورها الحقيقي كان في فترة الستينات من القرن العشرين، وقامت الحكومة فيها بحفر الترع والقنوات الري وتوفير المضخات الكبيرة لري المشاريع الزراعية. ما تراوحت المشاريع مشاريع النيل الأبيض من مساحات 2000 فدان لحد 40,000 فدان للمشروع الواحد، حيث كانت هي مشاريع متعددة على طول النيل، وكل مشروع زراعي لديه مجموعة سكانية محددة صاحبة الأرض تتوزع ريع الأرض في هذا المشروع. من فوائد هذا التجميع في مشاريع النيل الأبيض الزراعية أنه نوع التركيبة المحصولية، وكذلك أضاف القطن. نلاحظ أن القطن عامل مشترك في كل هذه المشاريع التجميعية، لأنها كانت رغبة الحكومات السودانية في أنها تزرع محصولات نقدية. ولكن في مشاريع النيل الأبيض أيضا أدخل القمح لأول مرة في هذه المشاريع، حيث كانت تزرع الذرة الرفيعة سورغم، عفوا الذرة الرفيعة اللي هي غالب طعام أهل السودان، ولكن أضيف عليها القمح وأضيف القطن. مشاريع النيل الأبيض الزراعية كان لديها بعد في النوع. النساء استطاعن أن يدخلوا في هذه المشاريع من خلال زراعة الخضروات ومن خلال تجفيفه والتصنيع الأولي للخضروات، فدعمت الأسرة في تلك المرحلة. وكذلك تأثرت هذه المشاريع بضعف قيمة القطن وتدهورت شيئا فشيئا. مشاريع النيل الأبيض الزراعية تلقت دعم من البنك الدولي ومن بنك التنمية الإفريقي، ولكن كذلك هناك أسباب كثيرة جعلت هذه المشاريع تتدهور، حتى تم تأمين بعضها في فترة من فترات السبعينات ونهاية الستينات.
Can I ask you to wrap up as well, Salah?
Yeah, sure. The last example is زراعة تشارك. آخر مثال هو زراعة تشاركية في منطقة جنوب كردفان، وهي زراعة مطرية، حيث يقوم القطاع الخاص أيضا بتجميع المزارعين وتقديم الخدمة لهم. ماذا نستفيد من هذه عملية التجميع؟ عملية التجميع في السودان تقلل من تكلفة الإنتاج، وتوفر المزارعين وصولا سهلا للمدخلات الزراعية والتمويل والتسويق كذلك. ولكن من المشكلات التي واجهتها ضعف التمويل، الحصار الذي وجه به السودان لسنوات طويلة، ضعف الحوكمة، تغير الحكومات والسياسات المستمر في السودان، إضافة إلى تدهور هذه المشاريع من حيث بنيتها التحتية، تراكم الطمي والحشائش فيها. أخلص إلى توصيات عامة. هناك حاجة كبيرة لعملية تجميع المشاريع لدعم المزارع المحلي من خلال بناء القدرات المؤسسية وإصلاح التشريعات ودراسة الوضع الراهن التي لا يجب أن تقوم بها الحكومات أو المانحين، وتحسين السياسات الداعمة لعملية التجميع، إضافة إلى استصحاب التجارب الإقليمية والمحلية، وتحسين البنية التحتية للمعلومات المكانية من خرائط ودراسات تربة وغيرها. شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you very much, Mr. Salah. We are running a bit out of time, so I will introduce quickly now Mrs. Fatma Tuzera Gülsever from Turkey, who will present actually the rich experience also of Turkey. We have had a perspective on the European experience from Morten. We have had several presentations about also the rich experience in the Arab regions. Let's have a look at the neighborhood and hear about the rich experience also of Turkey. Please, Fatma, the floor is yours. Personally, I cannot hear you. Are you muted or?
Okay, do you hear me?
Yes, okay. Very well now, please.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'd just like to start by saying that it's great pleasure to presenting at this conference. I'd like to explain land consolidation implementation in our country. I'm going to talk about land consolidation in Turkey in terms of its contribution to solve problems of irrigation and agricultural practices. In addition, how solutions affect improvements made for infrastructures such as irrigation, drainage, and roads, and the obtained benefits. My talk is divided in three main parts. I will first look at some figures agricultural land. Secondly, what, why, where, how we use land consolidation tool in these lands. Then I move on specially to talk about one of successful work example. And finally, I will illustrate areas from past to present, how much area implements and our target. And to finish off, I'll talk about what we learned. And in this slide, we can see the main problems in agricultural land in Turkey, such as fragmentation and inheritance shared landowners leading to small-scale holdings, which have limited technology and no benefits from roads and canals. These small-scale lands are not used for agriculture effectively due to economic gain, thus owners abandon their land. Another reason for abandoning their land is ownership issues. The number of agricultural businesses operating in Turkey is around 3 million. The number of agricultural parcels processed by these enterprises, 32.5 million. The average per enterprise's number of parcels is 11. On the other hand, the number of parcels registered in Cadastre 23.1 million, and the number of owners is 40 million. Furthermore, we can see the benefits of land consolidation. On the right side of the slide, after land consolidation, large and uniform-shaped parcels have been created with parcel distribution as a result of land consolidation and brought to the economic parcel scale for production. Each parcel has road access and canal access directly. All this represents 40% savings in public investment costs, such as water, canal, roads, etc., and accelerate investment. On the other hand, we see a decrease in abundant land, increase in trading and leasing transactions despite the fact that increases of sales or rental prices. Moreover, the demand for agricultural land will increase and the owners can buy and rent them easily. Besides, irrigation investment costs decrease with land consolidation. Increasing water use efficiency is important because of semi-drought climate conditions in our country. You know, water crisis is one of among the 5 risks threatening the world. Land consolidation is also a prevention tool in the agricultural irrigation in terms of reducing usage clean water in agriculture. Irrigation areas in the country are first priority areas of land consolidation. Land consolidation activities simultaneously with irrigation investment. Let me give you a tangible examples. Here, we can see the cadastral map before and after land consolidation in Denizli Tavas village. Before land consolidation, there was a lot of abandoned lands. After land consolidation, owners could use their lands effectively. The land consolidation applications provide not only solutions for management and parcel problems, but also strong relations between the state's investments and solutions for infrastructures such as irrigation, drainage, and roads. State hydraulic works have a protocol for a general directorate of highways and use land consolidation for highway planning. Thus, their farmers' lands are not fragmented by expropriation and they continue to farm. Surely, expropriation cost decreases with land consolidation. Another tangible example is given here, the cadastral map before and after land consolidation. Since all parcels directly benefit from the road and water, the courts are terminated for reasons such as the trespassing. Prior land consolidation, there were issues with roads passing through private farmland. If there is no road, the other field owner uses the other's field to access his own field, and this leads to damage to products, also leads to legal problems. Now with land consolidation, the road is public transporting. In addition to these, another benefit is social fund. Shared landowners can realize and thus use their property rights on their lands because the shares of the female or male heirs who cannot use their rights over their fields with this long-lasting inheritance problem can be combined with their other fields, thus saved from the occupation of other shared landowners. Some female heirs of land have not been able to exercise their rights to use the land for agricultural purposes. The land consolidation that we are proposing will solve this issue as well, allowing the women who rightfully own the land to use it as they wish. Here, we have overall view of land consolidation in Turkey. In order to solve these problems effectively, the land consolidation in a capacity of 1 million hectare area per year has been suggested. We think that land consolidation with this size will be effective and impressive. State Hydraulic Works is the irresponsible institution since 2018. Management also used some software for monitoring and evaluation of the large-sized land consolidation projects. And for reallocation parcel plans, we use different softwares. Land consolidation projects had been applied by the General Directorate Rural Services, General Directorate Agrarian Reform in the past. Turkish land consolidation has been implemented 60 years. For 60 years, land consolidation has been covered in great deal in Turkish development and strategic plans. It has been entirely made with the national budget. This year's allocated budget is going to use for 1.25 million hectares targeted area. And finally, I will explain what we already achieved and learned. We can see developments of land consolidation in this slide. In this 60-year period, we have come from simple applications to basin-based land consolidation implementation. On the other end, especially new inheritance law 2014 is very important. With this law, land fragmentation is forbidden. The solutions of land abandonment problems and the state's plan for growth in management, along with the need of land consolidation applications with land banking, bring us new perspectives and expansions. We saw that land consolidation accelerated public investment, especially in irrigation investments. Furthermore, land consolidation is a process which must be sustainable through the needs in time. And second implementation is possible. Agricultural activities across our country display differences. We don't have to apply an application of consolidation principles in another area because of geographical and social structure. However, basically, the proposed land consolidation. Awareness land consolidation activities important for landowners, also public sector, because participation is crucial for land consolidation success. Our target is complete the consolidation on 14.3 million hectares by 2030. And we have come a long way in this regard. However, our studies on land banking system are at the research stage, and we are planning to progress by making a project with FAO. Thank you for your interest.
Thank you very much, Fatma. I forgot to say that you are deputy head of land consolidation and informed development services department in the Turkish Ministry of Agriculture. So thank you very much for this very interesting and informative presentation as well. We have received a lot of questions actually, so thank you for all the participants who have sent questions. I recall to the panelists that they can also answer directly to some questions in the chat, as already done by Wissal, for example. Wissal has already answered to some questions, so thank you, Wissal, for that. We will save time. We will select some questions actually for the panelists. Let me select one or two of them for starting. The first one maybe is about the cost of the land consolidation programs. How are these costs supported? Are they public costs? How are they covered in middle-income countries? For example, maybe the experience of Morocco can be interesting, or the experience of Turkey as well can be interesting for this aspect of the land consolidation, how the cost is covered actually. Yes, also a second question that can be of interest for everybody: what can be said about farmers' preparedness to cooperate in countries with modest confidence in government? And this is yes, really an interesting issue as well. where there are some trust issues between authorities, let's say, and farmers, how can we overcome this mistrust, and how can we encourage actually the land consolidation operations where it is relevant? So maybe we can start with these two questions. I think they are for everybody. To canalize a bit the time, I will maybe ask Said and maybe Wissal what they think about the cost. Yes, how is the cost covered in your respective country? Please, Said, start.
Merci Jean-Maurice. Alors, en ce qui concerne le coût, d'abord, pour le moment, c'est l'État qui finance la totalité de tous les projets de remembrement. Les agriculteurs ne participent en aucun cas en matière de financement. Et le coût, il varie principalement entre 10 000 et 15 000 dirhams par hectare. Ça veut dire 1 000 à 1 500 euros par hectare. Donc ça, en ce qui concerne le coût de 2019-2018. Bien sûr, et les équipements, il y a le remembrement proprement dit. Alors, concernant la participation des agriculteurs, j'ai souligné que, en ce qui concerne la participation des agriculteurs, depuis le début, depuis l'ouverture du remembrement jusqu'à la fin du remembrement, il y a une participation intensive de la part de la population. Comment ça se fait? Dans un premier temps, on procède à une enquête socio-économique qui va déterminer la faisabilité du projet de remembrement. Et ça, bien sûr, c'est l'administration qui prend l'initiative de cette enquête, c'est l'administration qui effectue, qui établit le questionnaire, et les enquêtes sont faites auprès des agriculteurs avec principalement un grand échantillonnage représentatif. Deuxième acte d'accompagnement de la population, c'est la sensibilisation, soit au niveau local, soit avec des échanges. Allô?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Donc,
please be short.
Oui, be short. Donc, une sensibilisation qui est très, très importante. Alors, avant, au cours et après le remembrement. Il y a un registre de réclamation qui se fait et c'est une enquête officielle. Puis la commission de remembrement est constituée de 4 personnes qui sont des agriculteurs et c'est la commission qui décide de tout le sort du remembrement. Bien sûr, les enquêtes, même une question qui est très très importante, lorsque l'ingénieur géomètre-topographe qui établit l'enquête juridique, si le propriétaire ne possède pas, et ça c'est très important, ne possède pas d'acte d'acquisition de ces parcelles, c'est l'ingénieur géomètre-topographe qui établit avec le témoignage de la population un acte qu'on appelle un acte de notoriété. Et cet acte de notoriété, il suffit qu'il y ait des personnes qui vont le signer et la possession acquisitive est acquise. Et là, c'est très important.
Yeah, so thank you very much. It seems that the interpreters do not work anymore, so I think we will continue managing in English. So if I summarize very quickly what Said said in French, the land consolidation is funded by public funds actually in Morocco. I think this is more or less the same in Tunisia with that.
Yes, Mr. John Maurice, it's real. So the expense on land consolidation operation are from public funding, really from the public budget of the Agricultural Land Agency. And the farmers have only to participate in irrigated public perimeters. Their contribution will be in the hydraulic installation costs. It's a little participation, and there is no expenses to pay by them in other operations or anything else that concerns the land consolidation operation. Mm-hmm. Even registration of land rights, as I written. It is from public to public fund or public budget of the Agricultural Land Agency. And this is a positive point of land consolidation in Tunisia.
Okay, thank you very much, very clear. About the second question that I selected, actually about the participation, let's say, of the farmers or beneficiaries. I think this is a very important topic, as in the past, many experiences over the world, actually, of land consolidation were a bit top-down, let's say, driven by the authorities, by the government, by public authorities' decisions. More and more, there is a clear demand from the beneficiaries, from the farmers, from civil society to be involved actually in the decision-making process and in the preparation actually of the land consolidation operations. So, what is the experience in your countries vis-a-vis that? Are the land consolidation operation inclusive, participative? How does it work? To involve actually efficiently the people and without forgetting, of course, groups such as women's organizations, youth organizations, etc. Maybe we can ask Salah from Sudan and also from Turkey. What is the experience in Turkey? Fatma, if you can start with how do you involve actually the beneficiaries in the operations to ensure that they are motivated enough, and the participatory approach actually facilitates the land consolidation operations. Did you capture my question?
Yes. Should I answer?
Yes, of course. Please.
السؤال كان كيف يتم استصحاب أصحاب المصلحة والفاعلين في مسألة تجميع الأراضي. غالب هذه المبادرات كانت تأتي من المجتمع نفسه، لأن المجتمع بيكون وصل مرحلة من عدم القدرة على الاستثمار في الأرض، تصبح الأرض مقسمة تقسيما صغيرا جدا بحيث لا تصبح هناك فائدة كبيرة من استثمارها، فيضطر الناس إلى أنهم يلجأوا لمسألة التجميع سواء في جمعيات صغيرة. فمجرد ما تأتي الدولة وتقدم هذه الحلول أو يأتي مستثمر كبير المستثمرين ويقدم هذه الحلول، غالبا المجتمع يكون يعني سعيد بهذه العملية، خاصة إذا استصحبت معها بعض الخدمات الأساسية من صحة وتعليم التي تنعكس على المجتمع حتى غير المجتمع المزارع، ووفرت سبل العمل ووفرت تدريب للمزارعين وغيرها. في السودان الأرض أغلبها غير مسجل، وبالتالي مرحلة تجميع الأرض ينقل المزارع حتى من مرحلة عدم التسجيل والملكيات العرفية إلى الملكية الرسمية، وبالتالي يحقق له ضمان للحيازة أيضا ويقنن له حيازته. فهناك فوائد كبيرة تأتي على المزارع وعلى صاحب الأرض الصغيرة سوى التي تأتي من خلال مسألة التجميع. هناك فوائد أخرى مصحوبة. شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you very much, Salah. I could follow your intervention in French, so I hope that the other participants could, let's say, understand your intervention. Another question, maybe which is linked, and that will be the last one because we are almost. Let's say at the end of this very interesting table, how do we, for the more vulnerable, when the land registration is not complete or is up to date or does not reflect actually the situation on the ground? It happens in many situations, I think. How do you do that? Maybe Morten, we can hear from your experience about that. How do you deal with let's say the uncertainties of the land tenure situation in some countries when you want to undertake land consolidation operations? I think it can happen in many countries. Actually, it can be informative for all the participants.
Thank you, Jean-Maurice, for this interesting question. And this is actually the situation in many countries, also in Eastern Europe, that there are pockets of unregistered land, and some countries even have larger areas where, especially in rural areas where land rights were not, where the first registration after the land reforms that were done in the 1990s were not fully registered yet. I think what the experience with this would be that it's kind of counterproductive to first register all the land rights and then on top of that do the land consolidation. That will just have the double costs. We are in discussions with the colleagues in Georgia at the moment where they have 70% of the agricultural land in rural areas that is not registered. And at the same time, they're interested to implement land consolidation, to do pilot projects where we try to integrate land registration and land consolidation at the same time. So this would mean that in the 3 phases of land consolidation that I mentioned in my presentation, the feasibility study, that would then reveal these issues and find out who are the owners of the agricultural land, even if they are not formally registered. And I think it's the same situation in other countries, that even if they are not formally registered, there are still some evidence who are the legitimate landowners to the agricultural land, and then work with them, and then the registration will be an integrated part of the 3rd phase of the land consolidation, the registration and the implementation of the land consolidation process. So the land reallotment planning, the middle part, is done on the use rights that are informal and not registered yet. So this means that we save both time, but certainly also a lot of money, and we do not survey and mark the boundaries in the field just to replace them again 1 or 2 or 3 years later. So this is how this can be done, and what we are experimenting, or what we are suggesting to experiment with in Georgia at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Morten. We are about to close now. The time is almost over. I will let the last words to Frank, actually, to conclude. Thank you to all the panelists. I think it was very interesting. As we said at the beginning, the objective was not to cover everything regarding land consolidation, of course. This is maybe to initiate. This is an idea that I suggest to the whole audience, actually. Why not establishing some sort of a land consolidation, let's say, community of practice in the Arab region? I think that can be an idea to dig, and I let it in your hands to think about. Fatma is asking for the floor, so quickly, please.
Yes, I want to answer your questions. In Turkey, land consolidation costs covered all national budget, and the farmers don't have to pay any money for these investments. Also, irrigation investments, they don't have to pay any money. And we interview with in the land consolidation projects, and we ask them their opinion about their lands, and we public announced 3 times and take their objections, and we then going on our implementations. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatma. This is very clear. So Frank, up to you now to conclude.
Yes, thank you, Jean-Maurice. A few words to close this session. I think we have talked about the important issue of land fragmentation, land consolidation, and seeing that there are many issues which are, let's say, to be challenged. Unregistered land, inheritance issues. Well, the priority setting between modern agriculture and conventional agriculture, as we have learned from Morocco. Capacity development issues, costs, and farmers' preparedness to join. About this last point, I think we have done important work in Macedonia, FAO and RVO together, and also there many people told us this can never be done because we know that farmers don't trust the government. And now we are a few years later, and we have last year the first majority-based land consolidation in Macedonia be voted with an unbelievable majority. So if you make the process transparent enough, and if you create the field structures where people can talk with farmers on a daily basis, then I'm sure we can overcome this. We have heard also some hopeful experiences in the different countries, Morocco, Tunisia, the amazing figures of Turkey. I'm always surprised about this unbelievable target setting. And well, we have only made a start about this discussion in this region. We had only 1.5 hours, limited by the fact that we also had translation, that both part of the group was physically in Cairo and part of the group was online. So considering all that, I think we made unbelievable progress with discussing this issue in the region. And now we should proceed this, as Jean-Maurice said. That